Ever since you walked into this room, you've been acting like a self-appointed public avenger. Shut up. You're a sadist.
12 men turned into 12 clawing animals.
Hello guys, in this video we'll be talking about a movie called 12 Angry Men. The movie was released in 1957. 12 Angry Men is a courtroom drama. The entire movie takes place in a small jury room where 12 jurors debate about the fate of a 18-year-old boy who is accused of murdering his father. The film starts with the judge stating that it's the 12 jurors' duty to separate the facts from the fancy. The jury retires to discuss seemingly unanimous verdict of guilty. The discussion, as per the storyline, is supposed to go on until all the jury members come to an unanimous decision about the accused being guilty or not guilty.
If there's a reasonable doubt in your minds as to the guilt of the accused, a reasonable doubt, then you must bring me a verdict of not guilty. Now, if, however, there's no reasonable doubt, then you must, in good conscience, find the accused guilty. However you decide, your verdict must be unanimous. In the event that you find the accused guilty, the bench will not entertain a recommendation for mercy. The death sentence is mandatory in this case.
The verdict of the jury members will decide whether the boy will live or die. Specifically, 3 pieces of evidences were addressed in the jury. Evidence number 1, the knife the accused used to murder his father. Evidence number 2, the old man who lives in the apartment below the crime scene. Evidence number 3, a bespectacled woman who claims that she saw the murder through the window of a passing train. The preliminary voting, all the jurors voted for guilty except the 8th juror.
That's the law. Okay, are we ready? Now, all those voting guilty, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, that's 11 guilty. All those voting not guilty? 1. Right. 11 guilty, 1 not guilty. Well, now we know where we are.
Boy, oh boy, there's always one.
Now, what are we doing now?
I guess we talk.
8th juror believed that there should be some discussion before the final verdict is made. He says he cannot vote guilty because reasonable doubt exists. Juror 8 brings up certain details of the case that have been bothering him, but other jurors want him to stop stalling so that they can go on with the guilty verdict. With his first few arguments failing to convince other jurors, Juror 8 suggests for a secret ballot from which he will abstain.
Vote by secret written ballot. I'll abstain. There are 11 votes for guilty. I won't stand alone. We'll take in a guilty verdict to the judge right now. But if anyone votes not guilty, we stay here and talk it out.
The secret ballot reveals that all the jurors still vote for guilty. Then Juror 8 said he would also vote for guilty. In the secret ballot, one more juror voted for not guilty. Juror 9 reveals that he changed his vote. He respects Juror 8's motives and he agrees that there should be some more discussion. One of the biggest pieces of evidence against the young man on the trail is the unique knife which was used to kill his father. A storekeeper reported that he had sold same knife to the boy on the night of the murder. But Juror 8 proves that the knife is not unique at all by pulling out exact replica from his pocket and slamming it down on the jury table.
They had the storekeeper who sold it to the boy. Aren't you asking us to accept a pretty incredible coincidence?
I'm just saying a coincidence is possible.
And I say it's not possible.
Where did that come from?
Now with this proof, Juror 8 gets little more support for his not guilty verdict. Juror 8 further proves that it is impossible for an old man who had a stroke last year to move from his bedroom to the front door of his apartment in a span of 15 seconds to hear the boy killing his father.
Let's take 2 pieces of testimony and try to put them together. First, the old man in the apartment downstairs. He says he heard the boy say, "I'm going to kill you," and a split second later heard a body hit the floor. 1 second later, right?
That's right.
Second. The woman across the street swore positively she looked out of the window and saw the killing through the last 2 cars of a passing elevated train, right? The last 2 cars.
Well, what are you giving us here?
Just a minute. We've agreed that it takes 10 seconds for a train to pass a given point. Since the woman saw the killing through the last 2 cars, we can assume that the body hit the floor just as the train went by. Therefore, the train had been roaring by the old man's window a full 10 seconds before the body hit the floor. The old man, according to his own testimony, I'm going to kill you, body hitting the floor a split second later, would have had to hear the boy make this statement with the yell roaring past his nose. It's not possible he could have heard it.
That's it.
After surveying a diagram of the old man's apartment, some of the other juror members also agree with the juror age. After a long debate, again the ballot was taken. Now, there are as many votes for not guilty as there for guilty.
The vote is now 6-6.
The woman testifies the fact that she looked through the window of the moving train and saw the boy stabbing his father. But one of the jurors bring out the fact that the woman wore glasses, but there is a possibility that woman might not have put them on before looking out of her window.
And will you come on already with the optometrist bit?
The woman who testified that she saw the killing had those same marks on the sides of her nose.
Oh, he's smokes, you know he's right.
At this point, 10 out of the 12 jurors voted for not guilty. One of the remaining jurors goes on a rant about how they should kill the accused because of his race. But the other jurors quickly stop listening to him. Then the juror feels ashamed for his racial prejudice and changes his vote to not guilty.
You think he's guilty?
I think he's guilty.
Now juror 3 is the only one who is left with guilty vote. Juror 3 tries desperately to convince others until he finally reveals that his strained relationship with his own son is what makes him feel that the defendant is guilty.
Not guilty. Not guilty.
The resolution of the 12 angry men is that majority of the 12 jurors started with the boy being guilty, and then by the end the tables were turned. At the end of the movie, through much discussion, argument, tears and perseverance, all the 12 jurors have decided the boy as not guilty.
12 Angry Men emphasizes on the point that a person is innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. The 12 jurors must unanimously agree on whether the accused is guilty or not guilty without reasonable doubt. A reasonable doubt proves that critical thinking is important when someone's life is in someone else's hands. While reading some of the reviews of 12 Angry Men on internet, these are some of the points I liked in those reviews.
Although this film possesses many underlying themes that deal with a variety of complex issues, one of the greatest takeaways is that anything is possible. Towards the beginning of the film, when considering the possibility of the accused being not guilty, Juror 8 says, "It is possible, isn't it? All it takes is reasonable doubt of one man who stood alone against a room of men who are very much convinced that the boy is guilty." It seemed impossible for one man standing alone against 11 jurors who are more than convinced that the defendant is guilty, to convince them all to hear his side and eventually get them to vote not guilty as well. You may think to yourself, there is no way this guy will win. There is no way they all vote for not guilty. But just like the Juror 8 says, it is possible, isn't it?
12 Angry Men also shows us that our decision making ability is affected when we have to decide something in a group. The movie also deals with prejudice for others that we possess because of some past experiences. If you are yet to watch this masterpiece, please do watch it immediately. That's all for today, guys. Toodles, guys. Catch you soon.